Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name is Skylar Dream and I am a self-taught digital artist, crocheter, and small business owner. On the screen for you is my wonderful little Kage Yuki, who is primarily here for a form of visual interest so you're not staring at my torso the entire time. And it is the beginning of another week. It's Tuesday. I didn't film yesterday because I was just not really feeling all too well. I skipped stream today because I'm not really feeling that either right now, and however, I have been crocheting and I do have an update on the jackalopes. So the past 2 days I have been working on assembling these little guys. So yesterday I got the legs attached to both of them, and tonight we just wrapped them up. So this is going to be it for the jackalopes I'm going to bring with me to the market. I don't really have much else to update aside from we now have 2 new friends, and I guess now I can get started on the tricolor dango, so I'm going to begin working out the pattern for that. And for Tuesday, that's really all I have. And tomorrow I'll do a makeup stream because I missed today. So then tomorrow we're going to be working more on that DBD AU. And yeah, that's how we're starting off the week. Oh, and more updates. I did get confirmation from cat prints, and the prints are on the way. They just shipped out today, and I should be getting them by next Monday or by the 27th. So prints are on the way, so I'll have that for the market. I'm still waiting on an update from Vogue Race. As far as I'm aware, they're in production because I did submit the proofs on Sunday. I believe they would go immediately into production from there, and I'm still waiting on the update for when they've shipped out. So we still have a little bit of time. I'm just hoping they'll get here on time, hopefully the week of the market rather than the day of the market. But if they get here the day of the market, I will not complain. It's just so long as they get to me. So hopefully they will be here. They'll be here in time for the market. So prints are on the way. Stickers are still in production. So that is the update so far. We got more mail today. And firstly, I did go to the Dollar Tree and I picked up these coin envelopes, and what I'm thinking of doing with these is pretty much creating blind bags out of my B grade stickers. So these are going to be sold at a discount, and what I'm thinking is in here I'm going to have 2 3-inch stickers and then 3 2.5-inch stickers. So it'll be a random set of stickers from what I currently have in stock. The one thing that I am concerned about is running out of the 2.5-inch stickers because I have more 3-inch stickers coming in, but we'll see how many B grades come out of the stickers. So that is my plan. We're going to have blind bags, and if anything, if I have more 3-inch stickers, I may just do a mystery bag at a bit of a higher price point, but it'll be a combination of I'm thinking maybe 4 3-inch stickers, and then another bag with 2 3-inch stickers, and then 3 2.5-inch stickers. Did I mix up my numbers? I don't know. But essentially, blind bags. And this little guy is pretty much the last tarot deck that I was expecting to come in with my other tarot decks. So we have 1 tarot deck, and then the shop I like getting blind dates with books from had a sale, and I have the impulse control of a squirrel. So I got another blind date of the book. I got the Splatterpunk option, and we'll begin with the tarot deck first. I am ambidextrous, I say. I'm about to stab myself in the leg. As one way to... Friday. There we go. And, oh, okay. So, we have quite a few freebies in here. That is my receipt. We have a pack of stickers. And my guess, we have a few holographic cards for one of their other tarot decks. Oh, this was actually a nice one. Oh, this is nice. I'm actually curious to know which decks these are from, because this one's pretty cool. And then the star of the show, the tarot deck itself. And one of the things I really liked about this one was that the way the cards are set up, it's set up in a narrative. So I was able to see what the guidebook looks like online, so I was able to see a preview of all the cards. And one of the things I really like is that every card is interconnected, so within the suites they actually have their own little story, and that's one of the things that I really love about tarot, is that it's very symbolic and it's very story driven. And this card really plays into that story-driven aspect. Yeah, and I just got a good cut on it. And so we have the Soul's Haven Tarot. Ooh, is this a different one? Oh, this one's actually really cute. Okay, so I'll go through the tarot deck in a bit. As for this box, easier to open. Okay. I'm now going to cut up my sheets. Okay, so this is from Black Books Creative. Ooh, it's a yellow marker this time. Okay, so I got the one with the glass. So let's see what I got this time. Ah! Ooh! Okay, so I got one with a crow this time. I'll show you guys the other cup I got from them, but I actually really love this. And my stylist brain rot is thinking Mephisto. So that's the cup. And then here's the book. So we got the little ghost pen. Oh, this is really cute. Comes with a keychain. Magnetic bookmark. Spoopy stickers. Ooh, I love... Is that the mystery machine? I love that. Sticky tabs. Creepy doll. Oh, I love this moth. Creepy bookmark. We have the Jeepers Creepers. Yellow highlighter. And then this is the seller I got it from. And then you have a reading challenge, book review. And then now for the book. See what it is. Ooh. Okay, this is gonna be interesting. For context, I did request for the Splatterpunk one, so this is going to be a horror book. Oh, this is going to be a bunch of short stories. Oh, this is going to be a fun one. So for context, the last time I ordered a Splatterpunk book with this seller, I did get the Black Farm, and I'm actually very excited because the only other Splatterpunk book that I'm 100% at Splatterpunk is just a collection of short stories from our local bookstore. And yeah, I'm really excited. It's going to be a bunch of short stories, so this will be like a nice fun read, especially if I need like something that's a little bit more fast-paced. I'm excited for this one. I wonder if this is going to... Yeah, this is going to be its own story. Maybe the shorts... Actually, you know what I'm thinking? Is that the short stories from here might actually be a good place to kind of practice some audiobook recording. And I don't have a dedicated space for recording, but I figured just for a little bit of practice, I could maybe narrate this, read like a couple of short ones, and then try narrating a short one rather than trying to tackle an entire novel. I'm actually going to have fun with this. Okay. So I've gone ahead and unboxed the tarot deck, and I don't have a tripod with me right now, so the best I can do is just put my camera on a flat surface and go through the cards. I really like this because you can kind of see a canvas texture, and then it does have gilded edges. I actually want to show off one of my other favorite tarot decks because it has gilded edges, but the gilded edges are so much fun. It's the Soul Splash Tarot, and that one's one of my more edgier, I need to get screamed at decks. So, we have the Fool, the Magician, the High Priestess, the Empress, which is the same card that's on the cover of the box, Emperor, the Hierophant, the Lovers. Oh, it's lesbians. It's sapphic. Oh, I love the Chariot. Oh, Strength, the Hermit, Wheel of Fortune. You have Justice. Hangman is really cute. Got the Death card. The Devil. I think, yeah. Some of the things, sometimes with like some of these newer decks, they do kind of stick together. So the Tower was hiding right behind that one. The Star, Sun should be back here. The Star, the Moon, and then Sun. Judgment, the World, and yeah, that's what I thought. Ace of Swords, Two of Swords, Three of Swords, 4, 5. Yeah, and that's what I was saying, was one of the things that I really enjoy about this deck is that if you put them side by side, they actually draw out a much larger illustration. I actually want to see them side by side. 8 of Swords, 9 of Swords. Like, they all are their own pieces within themselves, but if I recall correctly when I looked at the previews, you can actually put them side by side and they draw out a much larger illustration. So they're all connected, and that's what I really love about the theme in this card. Like, within each card individually, they are their own pieces of art, but put them all together, they draw out a much larger narrative, which is what I really love about this deck. Oh, and I'm realizing this is all woman-centered. So I don't think I've seen a male character illustrated. They're all women, and I really love that. Why is my left arm getting tired? Yeah, this is one of my... Oh, and then Introspect is probably one of their bonus cards that's supposed to go in with their Major Arcana or replace one of the Major Arcana cards. So, absolutely love this deck, and I can't wait to use it. I know I haven't walked through some of the other decks that I got. Maybe one of these days we'll do like a proper walkthrough. But I also have expressed that I do want to do a tarot channel where I do a get to know my deck with me. And this is the box. I want to say, no, these are cards from this deck. I thought, for a second, I thought that was a preview for another deck, but I'm pretty sure these are all cards within this deck. And now for the stickers, which is Uno with the Sun. Oh wait, I'm stupid. So yeah, I feel like Vermilion Collection is coming out with a bunch more, like a lot more freebies nowadays. Oh, these are really cute and soft. And they have like a certain texture to them. I really like it. Oh, it's making me excited for my stickers to come in. I can't wait for my stickers to get here. Like, I need Debbie Ghost. Yeah, so these are going to be stickers based off of one of their other tarot decks, and I'm pretty sure I've seen it on the site. It's just not something I would typically get for myself in terms of a deck. Although the art is very cute. That's a cute little kitty. And yeah, that is it for today's mail. And then just another look at the bonus cards. I'm really curious about this deck specifically. Hopefully it's not one of their AI generated ones. I'm gonna be broken if... Ooh, this is cute. I'm gonna have to look into this deck specifically. Hopefully it isn't one of their AI generated decks. Because their AI generated decks have a very specific look and feel to them. This, I want to say, is drawn by a person, but I need to take a closer look at them. I'll be very disappointed if this is from one of their AI decks. But one thing I'm noticing, it's not as many as you would think on their site. This one's really cute. I'm gonna have to figure out which decks they come from. And I think this one's only one card. Yeah, this one's just one card. But yeah, I really love the art style on this. And for me, nothing alarming stands out when I look at this. Although I'm gonna have to check their site and see which deck these come from, but these were some of the freebies. And like I mentioned this in the past, the thing with Vermilion Collection is that they do have a selection of AI generated tarot decks. The thing I appreciate about Vermilion Collection, I think the best way to actually handle this type of situation, because Etsy has been overflowing with AI generated art, and one of my gripes with Etsy is that it's not labeled. I will give Vermilion Collection the benefit of the doubt, primarily because when they do have AI generated decks, they are very transparent about it, and they will label those decks appropriately if they are made by an artist. They usually won't come with the AI generated tag, and they will have, like, they're pretty much like featured artists, and sometimes they will have their own Kickstarters running. And like I said, they are very transparent when their decks are AI generated, and I veer away from AI generated decks and primarily focus on those made by actual artists. So yeah, again, my opinion when it comes to AI generated art, it does not have a place in the creative arts. That means writing, music, voice acting, art. Support human artists. That's all I'm going to say on this. Support your human artists. They work very long and hard to master their crafts, and artwork is a labor of love and passion. We don't do this just because it's easy. We do this because there's a journey and there's a story behind every piece that we do. And every art piece created by a person is a part of them. So yeah. All that to say, I really hope this one comes from an actual artist, and is not one of their AI generated decks, because Vermilion Collection does have an assortment of AI generated decks, and they are labeled, so I tend to steer clear from them. As promised, I did stream this evening, and this is as far as we got with the Seijou DBD AU with the Seijou 4 as the Legion, and I ended up deciding that I would focus on getting Oikawa blocked in this evening. We didn't really get too far into getting him into detail. The main focus for this evening was primarily just getting him into position, and his proportions and his anatomy still need a little bit of work, and I'm not really at a point where I'm ready to finalize it just yet, but the main purpose of this was just to get him into position and figure out where he would go on the canvas, because this is going to be a piece where the boys are in very intimate positions with each other, so I do need them. I do need to have an idea of where Oikawa is at because he is at the center. And eventually I'm going to have Maki resting on it, like sitting on the floor, resting on his thigh, and then Matsune draping himself over his other thigh. And then you'll have Iwaizumi on the top here, pretty much just kind of leaning on Oikawa and examining the knife that Oikawa is holding. They'll pretty much be holding hands. So yeah, main priority for this evening was just getting the start of Oikawa blocked in, and what I'm thinking is that I am going to have to move him further up on the bench, just so that when it's time to put Maki into the picture, he has a place where he can rest his head on Oikawa's thigh. And then likewise with Matsune, because Matsune is going to be pretty much sitting at his feet, just like kind of like casually resting on Oikawa as well. And because this is the Legion, I did want, and this is Seijou 4. For me, they travel as a polycule, sometimes with Tsuga as an extra. But I did want this to be a more very close and intimate piece, given the lore of the Legion and my affinity for the Seijou 4. So they are going to be very close and personal, and Oikawa will be at the center. So nailing down where Oikawa is at will pretty much help me determine how the other boys are going to be interacting with him. The other thing I'm going to have too is Maki sitting, kind of like sitting on Matsune's lap as well. So I'm probably going to have to figure out Matsune after Oikawa. And yeah, that is progress this evening. And one of the things I decided to experiment with, I'm not sure if I'm going to stick with it because approaching this piece in this manner is going to pretty much take me more time to complete. So what I'm thinking of doing is, I actually already have it set up over here where Oikawa has his own folder, and I'm pretty much going to give all the boys their own folders. So I'm going to have my sketch layers for Oikawa, then my sketch layers for Maki, my sketch layers for Matsune, and then my sketch layers for Iwaizumi. And the main purpose of this is just to pretty much draw out all of the boys and have them as their own individual pieces within the artwork, because typically whenever I do multiple characters, eventually I will draw the line art as just one line art layer. So if, for example, Oikawa would be overlapping over Iwaizumi, wherever they overlap, I would be erasing the lines for Iwaizumi. But in this case, what I'm thinking of doing is drawing out their entire bodies. And so, for example, Oikawa's in the middle, so he's going to be in front of Iwaizumi. So when it's time to put this together, I need to make sure Oikawa falls behind Matsune and Maki while also being in front of Iwaizumi. So they'll be like their own characters, like fully drawn out in their own folders. And then I'll just be like placing them on top of each other because typically what I would end up doing with my line art is pretty much just, they would pretty much be in place, and that's where they're going to be for the rest of the piece. At least with this, like I can still kind of move them around within their own folders and adjust them as I see fit. And part of the driving factor behind this is that there are some merch pieces where you'll pretty much have all the characters interacting in one piece, and then it'll break out into individual, like let's say acrylic stands, and then you have each individual character with their own pose, fully rendered, but when you see them all in one piece, there's obviously going to be some characters in front of the others. So I thought it'd be it'd be fun to use this piece to kind of experiment with how the folder structure would work. Especially because I'm a person who tends to do all the line work in one layer. It'll be interesting to have each character in their own subgroups that I could still potentially move around and rearrange. So that is one thing that I'm not sure if I'm going to stick with it quite yet, mainly because of the amount of work that's going to add, because I will be doing the full body renders for each boy. So that is one thing to keep in mind. That being said, I also have a crochet update, and I've gotten started on the tricolor dango. So these are the yarns that I'm going to use for the basic color. I'm kind of thinking about also doing some dangos based on Monster Hunter, because I'm looking at the pattern of this and I think I'll be able to like get a fair number of these done relatively quickly, especially with how this yarn works, and it's a little bit more on the chunkier side. So I can probably get to this size with fewer rows and stitches compared to if I were to just do, let's say, Bernat Velvet or acrylic. So I'm gonna also do a couple of these in the velvet yarn as well, just to see what the difference in the pattern would be. But using the baby bear yarn, this is where I'm at so far, and I'm looking at this because this is only roughly like around 6 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 6 rows. I'm thinking the white layer is at most going to take up maybe five rows, and then another 6 for the green to close it off, and then it's going to be the stick. And I'm looking at this, and I don't think it's going to take me that long to make one, and it's a relatively simple pattern. For this one, I'm just going to go ahead and just create the tricolor dango. If I decide to put a face on it, it's more than likely going to get embroidered on, because right now this is just to get the base in place. And then with that in place, I'm also debating on potentially doing a few based on some of the dangos from Monster Hunter Rise and doing a couple of those color combinations. But I'll have to look into what those dangos look like just to see what I would need to do, because if I remember correctly, there are some that come with vertical stripes. So vertical stripes is going to be a little bit more on the challenging side. But yeah, on all, this is where we're at this evening, and I don't think it's going to take too long to get a dango out. I'm going to try it maybe tomorrow afternoon. I'll continue working on this just to see if I could get one done like within a couple of minutes or like in under an hour, because this shouldn't, like a pattern like this, I don't think it's going to take me more than an hour to complete. So yeah, gonna continue working on the tricolor dango, and yeah, that's the update for the evening. Hello everyone, it is now Friday. I haven't really been vlogging the past couple of days because it's been one of those weeks, so pass the yowie. Anywho, I do have an update. It's now Friday. I just got home a little while ago from running errands and grabbing a bite to eat, and I do have a little bit of an update. So one, still waiting on Vogue Race to change status from in production to shipped, and yeah, starting to feel that time crunch. Really hoping those stickers get here on time. As for the cat print order, according to FedEx, it's out for delivery, but when I saw its previous location, I realized it might not get to me today, at the latest maybe tomorrow. But at the very least, the prints are on their way. And crochet-wise, I did finish one prototype for the tricolor dango, and I will admit the stick is a little bit off center, and I don't think this is the final pattern for the dango that I want to go with, mainly because I tried doing a seamless transitions between each of the dango, and pretty much the seamless transition helps so that it makes it look like a clean line between the color changes. And just to kind of show the comparison, I do have this whale, and this was actually one of my first crochet projects when I was first learning. I call it my bisexual whale. So you can kind of see, like, between the transition from the multicolor yarn over into the white yarn, there is a bit of a jagged edge. And then compare it to the Chubzilla, it's more of a clean line. So I tried doing the same thing with the dango, but I need to go down all the way to a 6 single crochet for this style. I might try doing it without that final set of decreases, but this is the first prototype. I'm going to try doing this pattern, but without the seamless transition, just to see how it turns out. It will affect the pattern slightly because there is a round that I keep as just a bunch of single crochets for the transition, and the main reason I do that is because I don't want it to feel like the pink is spreading out alongside with the white. So yeah, I'm gonna try 2 different things with the next set. So for one of the next dangos, I'm gonna try doing it without the seamless transition, and then for the second one, I'm gonna try doing it so by the time you reach the transition, we're down to 6 single crochets. I'm gonna keep it so that the transition happens at 12 single crochets. So this is the first prototype, and admittedly the stick is a little bit off center as well. So typically what I do with my first prototypes, especially if they don't end up making the final pattern, is that I will sell them at a discount. But until I figure out which one is the final pattern, yeah, I'll determine that later. But this is the first prototype. I'm actually quite happy with how it came out. I need to fix the positioning of the stick, and it's a bit on the wobbly side, so if I can figure out a way to make sure it stands up straight without having to add wires or anything like that, I'll try. But for the most part, this is the first tricolor dango. I'm going to make a few more of these. I'm going to do 2 more prototypes just to test things out a little bit more before going into making a few of these that are going to be with the final pattern. So here's the tricolor dango, and let's see how many more of these I can make. Okay, so little update on the tricolor dango. I'm not going to do a 3rd prototype because I'm actually very happy with the 2nd prototype. So this was the first dango, and one of the things that I didn't like about it was that you kind of have like this little awkward, it's a very thin transition between each of the different dangos. And then this is the 2nd attempt, and I actually like this one a lot better. The seamless transition, I didn't use a seamless transition on this one, it's just a regular color change. So you actually don't even really notice the little jagged edges with how close these are. And so I actually prefer this over this. It doesn't have like that little awkward, like, whatever this is. I actually like this one a lot better, so this is the pattern that we're going to go with and the one I'm going to be recording for my little crochet journal. But this is the dango. The next thing I'm going to be playing around with is putting faces on these and see how I like them with faces. So if I do put a face on this one, it's going to be a variation of closed eyes. So we have our first dango. I'm going to go ahead and get started on the next one, and I may experiment a little bit with the safety eyes. So one dango done. This is going to go into what my friend called the misfit bin, but I'm going to call it a prototype bin. But anyway, oh, the other difference between these two is the sticks. So this one is a lot more centered compared to this one. This one only uses 4 single crochets, and this one goes up to 5. So I'm pretty happy with the 5. So we're gonna pretty much move forward with this pattern, and then first prototype is going to go into the quote-unquote misfit bin, which is going to be like the prototype discount bin. So yeah, this is the first dango. Well, this is going to be the permanent pattern, so I'm going to get started on the next one I actually already have, and we'll see if we put faces on these. Good morning, everyone. Just a little update. I managed to finish the 3 dango I set out to make for the market last night. So now we got 3 dangos, and I also got an idea, and my Filipino half kicked in, and I started thinking, like, why not make one dango that is purple for ube, yellow for mango, and then green for pandan. The other thing that I was also thinking, instead of doing pandan, I could do the white again. So pretty much use this white for like makapuno. So I'm still debating if I'm going to go with white, and I just realized these are Laker colors. So kind of, well, it's fitting because like California Filipinos I know all have obsessions with the Lakers. My family being one of them. So yeah, I was kind of debating on whether to do makapuno or not. And then I started thinking, well, we could do ube, pandan, and then mango. I'm trying to think of any other very popular Filipino flavor that would work in this combination, but I'm also thinking purple for the pink, and then green on the bottom, or maybe yellow on the bottom. I'm not sure yet. Yeah, I'm thinking yellow on the bottom because it could be this combination where it's purple, green, yellow, or it could be purple, yellow, green, because I want the purple to be on top. So I'm thinking of doing ube, mango, pandan, and what's another good flavor for? I know taro is another one, but I'd end up using purple anyway for taro, so I'm sticking with ube, mango, and yeah, pandan. So I'm gonna make another three dangos with this, and I also got to thinking because I do want to make more Pride merch, and the one issue though is that when it comes to picking out the colors for the different Pride flags, I for sure will not have a problem with trying to recreate the the trans flag, because I already have the pink, I already have the white, and I also have this shade of blue, which I think would be very fitting for a trans dango. But however, the issue comes in with the other flags, because I'm looking at my color selection specifically for the baby bear yarn, because the baby bear yarn tends to come in a lot of pastel colors. The lesbian flag is one of the more obvious ones that I run into issues, because I'll have the pink, I'll have the white. The only problem is I won't have orange, and I don't know if they make orange in the baby bear yarn. So that's one thing I'm gonna have to look into. If not, I'm gonna have to look into another yarn. Then comes the case of the bisexual pride flag, and that one, because the colors are so deep and saturated, I will not be able to make the bisexual flag accurate if I make it into a dango. The only other one that I can think of I can easily get away with are maybe the asexual flag and then the pan flag, because with the pan flag, I have the purple, I have the gray, and I have the white. So I think I'll be able to get away with doing an asexual flag if I'm getting my flag colors correct. Pan is another one because, again, I have the pink, I have a blue, and I have yellow, so it would pretty much be these three colors for the pan flag, and typically I'm okay with pastel colors with the pan flag, to be completely honest. Then what's another flag that's presenting issues? Oh yeah, the gay flag. So that one, again, kind of falling back onto a pastel color theme, because I have the green, I have the blue, and I have the white, so we could do a very pastel themed gay dango. I'm not sure how I would tackle a full rainbow dango, if I would do like color switches at every row, but yeah, haven't really fully thought that one out. But when it comes to like the individual flags themselves, I could potentially make them, but the problem is the baby bear collection of yarns come in pastels, and I don't know if they have an orange so that I could do the lesbian flag and give it its rightful place. The other option that I could potentially do is just switch over to velvet yarn, because I do have an orange in the velvet yarn, and when it comes to those deeper, more saturated colors for like the bisexual flag, like I have those colors. So I think that the step might become switching over to the velvet yarns so that I could work with the colors that I already have, and then do a little bit more research into yarns like this, because I know I bought one recently, I think from there's another brand that I bought from. I'm gonna have to check what their color sections are, but as far as I'm aware, Baby Bear tends to come out with primarily pastel soft colors. I will have to go through Michael's and see what other colors they have available, but yeah, I'm thinking of making the dangos into pride flags, and I think that would be a fun little especially for June. I think that would be a fun set of dangos, just to make them out of the pride flags. I just don't know if I'll have them ready for this market, but for sure I think for when June rolls around, it'll be a nice to have in the shop. Just need to get my yarns together and figure out what colors to use for which dangos and pride flags. And again, the other thing is too, if I switch over to the velvet yarn, because if I'm not mistaken, the velvet yarn has a slightly different weight compared to the baby bear yarns, I may have to adjust the pattern a little bit to account for the difference in materials. But yeah, I'm thinking pride themed dango would be a fun thing to do in the near future. Okay, I knew this one was going to be a pain to find the center of the yarn, but in good news, I found the end without gutting the entire thing, so I'm calling that a win for this morning. I lied. So the end that I thought was in the center actually found its way into the center, and it actually wrapped around the outside. So now I have this mess. I don't know where the inside end is, but I'm gonna finish the bit of purple that I have, and then I'll detangle this little monstrosity. Yeah. This is gonna turn into a mess. Quick update. I did manage to get this ball rewound into a cake. Thankfully, the tangles from the inside of the skein weren't too bad, so I was able to get this done relatively quick. I've definitely ran into worse yarns in the past, and thankfully this one wasn't too bad, so we now have it in a little cake. And I have finished 2 of the dango. I'm going to make 1 more, but I do need to step out and run a quick errand before I need to go off to a birthday party. So here's the update on the progress for the morning. So we now have 2 ube mango pandan dangos. This arrived yesterday while I was out. I came home pretty late, so I didn't really get the chance to open it or film it, but these are the prints from Cat Print. So we're gonna just go ahead and take a quick look at them. I will need to set aside a day where all I do is just begin grading everything that's coming in. So I still haven't gone through all of the charms just to make sure if they're all okay. However, I did count them all, and we do have all 25. And yeah, still need to do grading on those. And these are gonna be the prints, and you came in packing peanuts. So it's gonna be 25 of each boy. So prints look good, and I think that's it. That's a lot of packing peanuts. So gonna throw that away later. But these are the prints. Usually you can tell the separation from them from the sides, because you'll kind of see the colors come off on the edges a little bit. And we'll go through these and count them just to make sure we have everything. And I'm pretty sure last time with Cat Print I did get a few extras. A few came out with a few printing defects, but nothing major. Usually I will go through them and decide if they're A grades or B grades. Occasionally the printing error will be bad enough that I'll put them down to C grade, but for the most part, all of these, for the most part, most of them will come out as A grades. And then the B grades I usually sell at a slight discount. But right now we have Caleb. And then here's Xavier. Came out pretty good. And one more Xavier. See, so notice like a little bit on that edge. Got Zane. Then Raph. And finally, Silas is at the back. Oh, I really like the way Silas came out. I really like the colors on him. Oh, that red really came out good. But here are all the prints. I only got 25 of each because I think I made the mistake of getting 50 of each last time. So gonna keep more reasonable stock. When I was starting out, I was thinking I would be selling them more, but gotta start small and then work your way up. So beginning with the lads boys, we are gonna have 25 of each print. Also, the other thing I need to start doing is start focusing more on my display rather than getting more product out. So I'm gonna begin working on getting a few. So one of the things that I mentioned is that with the wire grids, you can see through them. So a long time ago, I bought some poster board. And one of the things I realized was that I'm going to make pretty much a cover using poster board. And instead of like painting or coloring in, I got some vinyl wrap. And I'm going to use this to pretty much just cover up the poster board, and then find a way to get it attached to the wire grid. So that way it kind of comes out almost like a pseudo panel, but yeah, in my head, this is going to work some way or another, and I'm going to have to start actually nailing down the final setup for my display. And one of the things I'm realizing is that I can actually have one more set of grids that are just kind of like closing this side off. So that's one thing I'm going to begin considering. So I'm going to tear this down. I'm going to tear this down and then try building another display, because another thing that I mentioned in the past, if I put this here and I put prints here, it's going to cover up the blow boos. Alternatively, what I could do is use this for stickers, but that also is going to cut down the amount of displays I have for prints, and the prints kind of take up quite a bit of real estate. So I'm going to begin nailing down the display for the booth throughout this week and next week, especially now that the market is much closer than further away. So almost there. In another 2 weeks, I'll be vending at my first market. Here are the boys on the display rack. And this isn't going to be the final layout. I am going to adjust it a little bit later. And I misspoke earlier. I said that I ordered 25 of each. I actually ordered 20 of each, and then I got a few extras. So Caleb has 3 extras, and then the rest of the boys each have 4 extras. So that's pretty nice. So I have pretty close to the 25 that I was originally going to order, but did only order 20, and they did include extras. So yeah, these are the prints of the boys, and still waiting on those stickers. The stickers are the ones making me nervous right now, not gonna lie. But that's the prints. Also, update. Last night I did manage to finish the 3 ube mango pandan dangos as well. And I think I'm going to put a pause to the dangos, at least for the meantime. We'll see if I have enough time to make more before the market. Because these are pretty easy to make. And I was flipping through this book last night, and I was trying to think of other things I may want to add to my table for a little bit more variety. And I was looking through the cute critters portion. So these are the much simpler ones because they have more complex designs in the book that will pretty much take me a little too long for this market. I don't think I'd be able to finish any one of these, and some of these do require some sort of wire to help stand them up. So I'm sticking to the simple side. I'm not going to do the other amigurumi book either because those are all pretty large pieces as well. So this book actually has a good portion of pretty smaller sized amigurumi. So I was thinking of at least having the phoenix, and quite possibly doing a few gargoyles. So gargoyles and phoenix. I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of the patterns for the unicorns or the Pegasus from this book. However, I may do a couple of dragons as well. I'm not sure about griffins. Walpertinger. There's also the wyvern. But we'll see. Actually, this unicorn one is pretty cute. I could maybe just do the wings from the Pegasus and put it here. But anyway, so I'm going to do a couple of more patterns out of this book. I'm thinking maybe just 2 more gargoyles, 3 dragons in different colors maybe, or maybe more. I don't know. We'll see how far I can get with these. And then for sure the phoenix. I want to do a phoenix at least. So gonna do a couple of more patterns out of this book. One of the things that I've been meaning to talk about, but I just haven't had the opening to talk about yet, is that I have been shopping around for a new vlogging camera. Because at the moment, I am using my DSLR, which is a Canon Rebel T3i, and it is a pretty hefty camera. I used to vlog with this in the past, and one of the things with this camera, even though it does have the flippable screen, is that it is heavy. So if I ever have to hold it up, I need to give my arm some sort of support so that it doesn't get too tired. Sometimes when you do see me turning the camera on my face, I usually have it resting on a table, or if I'm the one holding it, especially if I'm sitting down, I do have a knee propped up to help support my arm because my arm does get tired with holding this camera for extended periods of time. The other thing that I was looking for is something smaller. So aside from the weight, finding a place to rest this camera can be a little bit difficult from time to time, and I personally am too lazy to take out the tripod. And for me, I'm probably less likely to film myself if I have to set up another item in my living room and have to work around that as well. So most of the times whenever I do set my camera down, it is on the table or it is on a counter. And the areas that I can set it down becomes very limited with its size, and when I'm working I have a lot of things lying around. So I wanted to also get a smaller camera, not just because of weight, but also just trying to find places to set it down. And one of the ones that caught my eye was the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. So I've been doing my research and I've been looking into it. So far, Amazon has the cheapest price at $4.99. I tried checking Best Buy, but by the looks of it, Best Buy doesn't have any shipping options at the moment, at least to where I live. And while I was doing research, I also stumbled upon the Extra Muse, which is significantly cheaper than the Osmo. Well, yeah, so almost, what, $120 cheaper than the Osmo. And so, yeah, I was thinking that I would go with the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 because it just seems like a camera that would be nice to be able to set down in any place, and it'll be like more like you're not struggling to find a place where you can set it down and get the right angles. So definitely this was on my radar until I found the Extra Muse, and I think I'm going to hop on the Extra Muse because I was watching a few videos and it looks like there's a lot of speculation that they're the identical camera. So it's not like just a cheap duplicate, they might just be the exact same thing because, long story short, working around the current affair of the US. So yeah, I think I'm leaning towards the Extra Muse mainly because it's at a nicer price point. And to be honest, my needs for a vlogging camera are relatively simple. I just need something that I can easily bring around with me. And from what I've read is that people have been able to attach mics with adapters, so at the very least there's that, because even with this camera I don't use a mic because this is a camera from like what, 2000, well, when I bought this camera it was probably around 2012, so very old camera. The jack for the mic is literally one of those like one of those like old headphone jacks. So getting something that could either pick up on Bluetooth or like some sort of modern day adapter, the USB-Cs, would be very nice. But yeah, I've seen people say that you can attach an adapter to this and it works just fine. My only concern with attaching an adapter is that I will have to find a stand for it, so having to plug in an adapter by what looks like the bottom might be a little bit of a pain point with the Extra Muse. But like I said, most of the times when I'm vlogging, I am vlogging from home, so it's not the world's biggest concern for me because noise-wise, it's not gonna, the most you guys will probably hear in terms of ambient sounds are the birds chirping. And yeah, if I need to attach a mic, more than likely I will be holding it or finding some other way to hold it up. Trying to remember how some of my other tripods work, but that's something for me to figure out later. But for me, I'm willing to work around some of the Extra Muse's shortcomings because from what I heard, it doesn't accept a Bluetooth mic, or based off of the reviews, it doesn't accept a Bluetooth mic. I don't know if that's changed in the past couple of months, but yeah, I'm thinking of getting the Extra Muse. The other thing I'm also thinking about doing is just, again, going back to getting a smaller camera for vlogging reasons and then keeping my DSLR primarily just for photo shoots. Especially when I do product photography or I decide to pick up any form of photography again. Just to get one of the smaller Sony cameras that I've seen floating around. They have one that starts at $500 and then there's the few that start edging into the $1,000 range. And I'm thinking a Sony camera would be a nice to have investment for the near future, but not right now. Right now, I think my priority is getting something that's small enough that is easy for me to find a place to set it down and isn't going to take too much space. And in my opinion, even though I have concerns from what I heard about the Osmo being very fragile, especially when it comes to the gimbal, it's one of those things that, like, it's nice and small enough, and it's got a camera that I can easily, or rather, it's got a screen that I can flip around and see. So I'm thinking the Extra Muse will be a nice place to start. And yeah, so I think I'm gonna go with the Extra Muse for a camera, and then later down the line invest in a Sony, because the $379 is kind of nicer compared to the $499, and this is $499 without the mic. With the mic, the price bumps up to roughly around $600. So yeah, $609 with the mic, and then a tripod. But I was also noticing that there was another tripod. So yeah, this comes with a tripod. This looks like a battery pack, but I don't know if it already comes with a camera pack by default. Where is the list? I'm trying to use the mouse with my left hand. So yeah, it looks like it comes with, by default, it comes with a handle, a protective cover, cable, and a wrist strap. And then with the creator combo, it's going to come with a lens, a mic 2, one screen. I nearly read that the wrong way. Clip magnet, a carrying bag. Actually, this might not be a bad idea. $100 more for the mic, because that was one of the things that I noticed while I was looking for the for the mics for the DJI, is that they have the transmitter for $25. I thought that was the mic, but then after more careful looking, by the looks of it, the mic itself is also going to run another $50. Oh, something to consider, because it does have a battery handle, and then it comes with a carrying bag. Just having that extra bit of battery would also be nice. Because I want to buy it tonight, to be completely honest. So, that's actually $609, $200. I know the mic by itself is already $50. The angle lens is gonna be another extra cost. The bag and the battery is another item that I could picture being high price in the long run. I'll have to consider it. I'll have to reconsider it. Because again, the mic would be a nice. Okay, so this is what this comes with. It has a carrying bag, 1/4-inch threaded handle. Okay, USB-C, CPD. USB-C to USB-C PD cable, and then 1/4-inch threaded handle, and then a wrist strap. I'm gonna do a little bit more research before I buy it, and I'll probably put in the order tonight, because I've been putting it off. And yeah, awesome investment in one of these cameras for the immediate future, and then later down the line I'll probably look into getting one of the Sony cameras that tends to be pretty popular. For now, we'll just begin small. It is now Monday, and I vlogged all day yesterday, but I forgot to do the outro. So consider this the outro for this week's vlog, coming from Monday. But yeah, thank you everybody for joining me again this week, and I'll see you in the next one, which is supposed to start today, but you're also getting the outro today. So see you in the next vlog. Bye bye.